Listen closely. The world operates on a stark principle: results. It pays little attention to the intricate tapestry of reasons why you believe you cannot achieve something, the detailed narratives you've constructed to justify your inaction, the carefully curated list of limitations you've mentally imposed upon yourself. These hold little weight in the grand scheme. Others, immersed in their own pursuits and aspirations, naturally gravitate towards tangible outcomes, towards the evidence of effort manifested in the real world. And why wouldn't they? Excuses, however eloquently presented, possess no inherent power to alter the trajectory of your existence. What truly catalyzes change is action, the consistent and often arduous process of doing the work, even when the summit of your goals feels impossibly distant. The reality, often obscured by our personal narratives, is this: challenge is a universal constant. Every individual, regardless of background or circumstance, encounters obstacles that threaten to derail their progress. The critical differentiator between those who ultimately taste success and those who stumble and fall short lies not in the absence of these hurdles, but in the nature of their response. When confronted with adversity, do you instinctively recoil, seeking the perceived safety of retreat, or do you summon an inner resilience, a refusal to be defined by the difficulty, and rise to meet the occasion? The world, in its pragmatic assessment, doesn't dwell on the intricacies of your struggles. Its focus remains fixed on the tangible outcomes of those struggles, on the concrete results you manage to produce despite the headwinds. The relentless march of time pays no heed to your meticulously crafted explanations for why things aren't aligning according to your desires. The world continues its ceaseless rotation, its processes unfolding regardless of your personal circumstances. The individuals who carve their names into the annals of success are those who maintain momentum, who understand the vital importance of continuous movement. They persevere not because they are immune to setbacks or devoid of reasons to falter, but because they possess an unwavering commitment to their goals that transcends temporary obstacles. Life, in its impartial wisdom, owes you nothing. It extends no guarantees of effortless success or perpetual comfort. The sole entitlement it offers is the direct consequence of your willingness to earn what you desire through persistent effort and unwavering dedication. The acquisition of your aspirations is a direct result of deliberate action, not the passive consumption of motivational rhetoric, the ephemeral nature of dreams unanchored by effort, or the self-soothing comfort of excuses. It is forged in the crucible of hard work undertaken in the quiet solitude where no accolades are immediately apparent. It is born from the relentless grind executed when exhaustion threatens to consume you, from the unwavering determination to push beyond perceived limitations when every fiber of your being screams for respite. Remember this fundamental truth: the world cares little for the reasons why you believe you cannot. Its unwavering focus remains on what you ultimately choose to do in the face of those perceived impossibilities. The true impediment to your forward momentum is often the absence of consistent steps taken in the direction of your goals. You are, perhaps unknowingly, allowing the obstacles you encounter to define the very boundaries of your potential. It is time to dismantle this self-imposed prison. You possess a capacity that far exceeds the limitations of your current circumstances, and the onus rests squarely upon your shoulders to demonstrate this truth through consistent action, day after relentless day. Why do so many aspirations wither and die on the vine? Often, it is a deficiency in the very discipline required to persevere through the inevitable periods of difficulty. But let me impart a crucial understanding. Discomfort is not a signal to retreat. It is the very terrain upon which profound growth flourishes. It is within those challenging moments, when you are stretched beyond your perceived limits, that you evolve into the more capable and resilient individual you are destined to become. Therefore, resist the urge to fear discomfort, to instinctively recoil from its presence. Instead, actively seek it out, for it is within these demanding experiences that you will be forged into someone stronger, someone demonstrably better. The world offers no sympathetic ear for your reasons why you cannot. No unseen force is patiently awaiting your triumphant conquest over your internal fears. There will be no cavalry arriving to orchestrate your rescue. The responsibility for your progress, for the realization of your potential, rests solely with you. You must undertake the often uncomfortable journey of proving to yourself, through consistent action, that you possess the inherent strength and unwavering resolve to achieve your aspirations. The transformative moment arrives not when you exhaustively catalog the reasons for your stagnation, but when you shift your focus towards identifying and implementing viable solutions. The path forward will rarely be paved with ease, but it is precisely this inherent difficulty that distinguishes the few who ultimately succeed from the vast majority who remain tethered to the familiar landscape of their limitations. The pivotal question that demands your immediate attention is this: what will you actively choose to do about the gap between your current reality and your desired future? Will you passively await the arrival of some mythical, perfect moment, a confluence of ideal circumstances that rarely, if ever, materializes? Will you defer action until you are overcome by a fleeting surge of motivation? Understand this fundamental truth. Progress is not dictated by the whims of perfect timing or fleeting emotions. The time for meaningful action is perpetually now. Every precious second squandered in the meticulous construction of excuses is a corresponding moment irrevocably lost, a moment that could have been invested in tangible forward movement. Resist the illusion that you are somehow unique in your experience of encountering obstacles. The individuals who ultimately achieve their ambitious goals possess a profound understanding that challenges are not anomalies to be avoided, but rather integral components of the very process of growth. The ascent to any meaningful summit invariably involves encountering walls that test your resolve. But here is the empowering truth: those walls possess only the power you grant them. They will only halt your progress if you actively choose to surrender to their presence. The world remains indifferent to the reasons why you believe you cannot. Therefore, consciously redirect your focus towards the realm of possibility, towards the actions you can take, however small they may initially seem. Silence the insidious voice within that whispers narratives of inadequacy. You possess the inherent capacity for achievement. What is often lacking is the unwavering belief in that capacity. Cease the practice of seeking external validation, of waiting for some perceived authority to grant you permission to pursue your own aspirations. Stop waiting for the world to magically transform itself to accommodate your desires. The world, in its vast indifference, will not bend to your individual will. The onus rests upon you to adapt, to evolve, to become the person who can navigate its complexities and achieve your goals within its existing framework. If your desire for something is truly profound, you will inevitably unearth a pathway to its realization. The individuals who consistently achieve success are not necessarily those blessed with the most extraordinary talent, the sharpest intellect, or the most advantageous circumstances. Rather, they are distinguished by an unwavering refusal to succumb to the siren call of quitting. They demonstrate an almost relentless commitment to showing up, day after demanding day, regardless of the internal and external headwinds they face. They maintain their forward momentum even when the chorus of the world seems to be urging them to abandon their pursuits. It is this unwavering dedication, this refusal to yield, that ultimately paves the way for their victories. The world remains unmoved by the reasons why you believe you cannot. Its ultimate judgment rests on your willingness to undertake the often unpleasant but ultimately necessary actions required to achieve your goals. If your commitment is this profound, then truly, nothing can ultimately impede your journey. Not the external pressures of the world, not the inevitable obstacles that will arise, and crucially, not even the limitations you may have unknowingly imposed upon yourself. Therefore, rise to the occasion, initiate movement, consciously dismantle the architecture of your excuses, and begin the proactive process of identifying and implementing effective solutions. The precious commodity of time is finite and relentlessly slipping away. You possess no surplus to squander on the unproductive indulgence of excuses. The only viable option is decisive action. But remember this fundamental truth: the world may not care about the reasons why you believe you cannot, but it will most certainly take notice when you demonstrably do. Resist the temptation to passively await the alignment of some cosmic forces. They will likely remain in their own orbits, indifferent to your aspirations. Discard the notion of waiting for some mythical set of perfect circumstances, for such a utopian moment rarely, if ever, materializes in the messy reality of life. The attainment of your desires will not be a consequence of passive hope or wishful inaction. Life operates on a principle of cause and effect. It demands proactive engagement. It requires a conscious and unwavering decision made in the present moment to push forward relentlessly, irrespective of the magnitude of the obstacles or the intensity of the resistance you encounter. Because ultimately, the sole determinant of your progress is whether you maintain forward momentum or succumb to the paralyzing grip of fear, doubt, and the seductive comfort of excuses. What fundamentally distinguishes those who achieve their ambitions from those who remain perpetually on the periphery. It is not merely the possession of innate talent or the capricious favor of luck. It is the deeply ingrained willingness to undertake whatever actions are necessary, however challenging or uncomfortable they may be. It is the cultivated ability to maintain forward momentum when every internal voice screams for surrender. It is in these critical junctures that you must consciously reconnect with the initial spark of your motivation, the compelling why that ignited your pursuit in the first place. If your desire is truly to achieve victory, you must cultivate the unwavering willingness to work, even when the process is arduous, when it pushes you beyond your comfort zone, and when your motivation wanes. The simple declaration of "I can't" requires no effort. Surrender is always readily available. But recognize this crucial truth: yielding to the temptation to quit will lead you nowhere closer to your aspirations. Success is not born from avoidance of discomfort, it is forged in the fires of perseverance. It arises from standing firm in the face of adversity, from remaining engaged in the game despite the setbacks, from relentlessly pushing forward even when your internal resources feel depleted. Cast aside the allure of excuses, the temptation to externalize blame onto circumstances. Cease the unproductive cycle of questioning why things aren't unfolding according to your expectations. Rise, engage, and actively do the work. Because at the end of the day, the world remains indifferent to the reasons why you believe you cannot. Its ultimate measure of your worth will be your demonstrated willingness to persevere, to continue the fight, to relentlessly push towards your goals. When you consistently show up, when you diligently invest the necessary effort, that is when the world begins to take notice. That is when the amorphous contours of your dreams begin to coalesce into tangible realities. Doubt and challenge are the inevitable companions on any meaningful journey, but the fundamental distinction between those who ultimately succeed and those who do not lies not in the presence of these difficulties, they are inherent to the process itself. The critical difference lies in your chosen response. Do you allow the inevitable headwinds to extinguish your flame, or do you cultivate an inner resilience that allows you to rise above the turbulence, to dig deep within your reserves and to maintain your forward trajectory? That is the defining difference. The intricacies of your personal journey will not always be readily understood by others. They may not fully grasp the depth of your commitment, the sacrifices you are making with your time and energy, the extent to which you are pushing your own perceived limitations, and that is perfectly acceptable. Not everyone is meant to fully comprehend your vision, nor will they necessarily witness the totality of your dedicated effort. But this external lack of complete understanding is ultimately irrelevant. What truly matters is your own internal conviction, your unwavering belief in your vision, your profound understanding of your own capabilities, and crucially, your unwavering willingness to undertake whatever actions are necessary to translate that vision into tangible reality. This journey is ultimately for you, not for the validation or approval of others. Therefore, cease the unproductive practice of waiting for external permission, of seeking validation from those who may not fully recognize your inherent worth. Take decisive control of your narrative. Own your journey, with all its inherent challenges and triumph. Actively do the work, and when you inevitably encounter setbacks, as you undoubtedly will, make the conscious choice to rise again. Do not remain prostrate in the face of failure. Do not allow it to define the totality of your potential. Instead, harness its power to fuel your future efforts, to impart invaluable lessons, and to drive you towards becoming a more resilient, more capable, and ultimately more relentless version of yourself. Remember, the world may not care about the reasons why you believe you cannot, but it will most certainly take notice when it witnesses the tangible evidence of what you demonstrably can do. They will observe the transformative power of your actions when you cease the unproductive cycle of excuses and begin the steady accumulation of meaningful progress. They will witness the tangible results of your unwavering commitment as you push beyond your self-imposed limitations and willingly sacrifice comfort and immediate gratification in the pursuit of your long-term aspirations. The world, in its impartial observation, consistently takes note of those who refuse to yield, who maintain unwavering discipline in the face of widespread shortcuts, and who diligently invest the necessary effort even when no external accolades are immediately apparent. This is the fundamental mechanism by which you gain ground, by which you ultimately achieve meaningful success. Not through passively awaiting some opportune moment, not through perpetually seeking external assistance, but through the unwavering acceptance of complete responsibility for your actions and, consequently, for your results. Internalize this crucial principle. The world remains indifferent to the reasons why you believe you cannot. It cares little for the elaborate justifications you construct for your inaction. Its ultimate judgment rests on the tangible outcomes you produce. You possess the inherent capacity to achieve your aspirations, but you must consciously break free from the inertia of waiting. Cease the self-defeating practice of excuse-making. Silence the internal voice that whispers, "I can't," and consciously replace it with the empowering declaration, "I will." The precise moment you enact this internal shift, the very landscape of your possibilities begins to transform. You will eventually look back upon your journey and realize that the primary and perhaps the only true impediment to your progress was the limitations you had unknowingly imposed upon yourself. And once this profound realization takes root, the momentum of your progress will begin to build. Therefore, rise, initiate movement, and decisively dismantle the architecture of your excuses. There is no longer any productive space for the litany of reasons why you believe you cannot. There is only one compelling reason why you unequivocally should, because you possess a reservoir of untapped potential that far exceeds your current perception. You are inherently stronger and more capable than you may presently realize. And it is precisely in the act of pushing beyond the perceived boundaries of can't that you will ultimately discover the true extent of your own resilience and inner strength. Do not allow another day to slip by, another moment to be squandered in the unproductive pursuit of justification. Make today the definitive turning point, the day you consciously choose to dismantle the edifice of your excuses and embark upon the tangible path of progress. Your envisioned future patiently awaits your active engagement. Your potential for success remains within your grasp, but the onus rests squarely upon your shoulders to actively reach out and claim it. Therefore, get to work, silencing the insidious whispers of self-doubt. Cease the self-defeating narratives that you are somehow inadequate or lack the necessary resource. The truth is, the inherent capacity for achievement has resided within you all along. You possess the requisite strength, the latent talent, and the unwavering willpower to relentlessly pursue your aspirations. Fear and doubt are merely unwelcome intruders on your journey, self-constructed barriers that reside solely within the confines of your own mind. Tear them down with decisive action. Push through the perceived limitation, because the only true obstacle that can ultimately impede your progress is the one you erect yourself. You can endlessly enumerate the reasons for your inaction, but here is the stark and often uncomfortable truth. The world is not listening. It remains indifferent to your justifications. The only factor that ultimately holds significance is what you actively choose to do with the finite and precious time you have been granted. The sole determinant of your trajectory is how you respond to the inevitable challenges, how you confront the inevitable adversity, and how consistently you choose to show up for yourself day after demanding day, regardless of the prevailing circumstances. When you awaken tomorrow, when you step into that arena of challenge, when you sit down to engage in meaningful work, or when you are confronted with an obstacle that threatens to halt your progress, ask yourself this pivotal question: what am I going to actively choose to do now? Will you succumb to the temptation to quit, or will you summon the inner resilience to push through the discomfort? Will you allow the insidious voice of self-doubt to convince you that the task is insurmountable? Or will you consciously remind yourself of the challenges you have successfully navigated in the past, reaffirming your inherent capacity to overcome the present difficulty? This very moment is the crucible of decision. Every conscious choice you make today inexorably shapes the individual you will become tomorrow. Therefore, let us make the empowering choice. Let us consciously choose to maintain forward momentum. Let us actively choose to take action, even when the path ahead feels impossibly arduous. Let us willingly embrace the often unpleasant but ultimately transformative grind, for it is within this dedicated effort that true magic unfolds. It is here that you become stronger, more capable, and more aligned with the person you were always destined to be.